Hi, welcome back to the Collaboratory at Hillsborough Brookwood Library. I am here to introduce you to a pretty exciting piece of equipment. If you were here pre-pandemic, you probably saw us getting ready to set up our Glowforge laser cutter. And I'm not sure when we're going to open again, but when we do, it should be available for patron use after some initial training. But I wanted to take this time at the Maker Faire to share the Glowforge with you. So right behind me, here it is. It's a pretty fun piece of equipment. I'm going to wheel us over there. The most exciting part is this button because that means we're going. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. And it's a switch right behind here. You can kind of get a sense of what it looks like when the lights are on. Some of the components are, this is our laser tube. We don't ever want to touch that with our hands. We can use a gloved hand or a wipe to clean it, but you don't want to touch, you don't want the oils on your fingers to get on it. Let's see if I can wheel us back a little bit here. So this is our lid. We'll lift this when we're ready to put material inside. And right under this Glowforge bar is a little camera, and that camera can detect what's inside the print bed, including what kind of materials we're going to use. Some examples of materials are acrylic. This is an orange acrylic. We have blue. We have a few different colors. On each piece of material, there'll be a QR code with the information about the material, and this camera will download this QR code and tell the application what piece of material it's being asked to print on, and that information will go right into the app and help with the depth of etching and cutting. It'll know exactly the depth of each piece of material. That's all part of that QR code. Because of that, we require you to use materials that we're providing you because we are using Glowforge approved materials. So we have wood, a little bit of leather, some fun acrylic, and some draft board. If you have requests for purchases, we are taking requests. If you have a specific project that you'd like to create with the specific Glowforge material, you're welcome to purchase it on your own and bring it into the library to cut. And I think you just go to shop.glowforge.com to access those materials. Otherwise, you're welcome to use the materials in the library. We'll have some rules around how often you can use it, and there'll be some registration to sign up to use it because we'll need to have a volunteer present at each print. We'll get into those details later. Today, I just wanted to show you the Glowforge and in action. So hang on with me and we'll get started shortly. Okay, so today we're going to make, I'm going to show you how I'm making our Maker Faire keychain. And we're going to start with some medium maple plywood. And you can see that I've already done some test cuts here, and that's totally fine. The Glowforge will know where it can print, and it won't, or cut, and it won't do it over a place that's already been cut. So if you see a piece of material you're interested in, it's totally fine to put it in there, even if it has some work already cut out of it. So I'm going to just lift our board, and then I'm going to place this just inside underneath our print head. And I'm going to get us a little bit closer so you can kind of see what's going on. You should be able to see the camera here, and the camera is going to read this plywood QR code so it'll know what we're trying to print on. So when you have created your item, so I've created this this little Maker Faire robot key ring. You can create it in Adobe Creative Suite. You can create it on GIMP. You can really create it anywhere. The final project should be a PDF, or if it's a vector file, and then it would be it could be an Illustrator file, or it could be a JPEG or a PNG. The file type really depends on what you want to do with it. And this file, I want to engrave the robot out of the circle, and I want to cut the hexagon around it. So we have a dashboard that we go to from this cloud-based app, so app.glowforge.com, and then we have a library login. And I want to go into my current Glowforge is showing me this piece of wood I've just laid in, and it's a medium maple plywood. It knows that because of the QR code that's on the plywood, but if it couldn't read the QR code, or if there was some sort of error, then you could adjust the material type in here. So we're going to just keep it where it is because that's correct. And what's great about this is that Glowforge knows their own products. They know the depth, and so they know the thickness for engraving and for cutting. And I want to make sure that my layers are correct. So I am going to engrave this layer, and then I'm going to cut this layer. And your cut file should be at the very end of your, or the very last step. So you wouldn't want your cut file to be first, because it will cut. This is the order of operations. If it cuts your wood first, it actually releases out of the block of wood, and then when it goes to engrave, it's not going to be centered nicely. So I like to make sure that we engrave first and we cut last. And then I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to do a Control C, Control V, and I'm going to copy this because I want to make a bunch of these key rings. I'm hoping that we have a big turnout for the Maker Faire, and everybody who registers gets a free key ring. So I want to make as many as I can and fit as many as possible into our workspace here. And I'm just copy pasting to get as many in here as I can. You don't want to overlap your cut lines because that's where the laser is going to cut, and if it overlaps, then it's going to mess up your other image. This one's grayed out because it's actually going beyond this margin. So I'm going to get rid of that, but first I'm just going to copy this whole row, paste it down, and then I'm going to shift arrow, just kind of snug it in there. I want to be mindful of the material usage, and so I don't want to waste any. It kind of kills me that I can't put one there, but I might put a miniature one there. I'll make one a little bit smaller, show you how to do that. So I'm going to copy paste this and just shift this down. I'm using the shift key and the arrow key just to get this nestled right in. And then I will put like a little one here. So I'm going to do Control C, Control V, and then I'm just going to use my corner here and just drag it so it's a little bit smaller, and I'll set it in there. It looks like I might have moved this one. Adjust that, and then I think I could probably fit 2 of these little guys, and maybe I'll have a pair of earrings here or a mini keychain. Maybe, I don't know if I can fit it. Oh, I can put it over here. I'll put one there and one here. It turns blue when it's able to do the thing. So, and I can actually select all of this. Move it over a little. And same with this. I can select all of these and move them over a little. I want to make sure everything's fitting nicely. And I could fill up this whole area. I'm just going to zoom in and make sure I don't have any overlaps. I only have a couple hours here in the building, so if I filled up this whole thing, it'd probably be about a 4-hour print job with all the engraving. But because I don't have 4 hours, I'm gonna, I'm just gonna get this one over here, so I'm utilizing my space. I'm just gonna do half of them for now. I'll do the other half next time I come in. So I'm good to go. I'm gonna go ahead and tell it to print, and it's gonna prepare my print. It's just communicating now with the Glowforge that there's a print ready. It's giving all the information and the layout, and it's going to calculate the amount of time it's going to take. Uh-oh, I noticed an error. I'm actually going to cancel this. So you probably noticed it before I did, and if you did, kudos to you. I just had this overlap, and I really don't want it to print that way. Let me just scan this and make sure I've got everything. Everything else looks good to me. This is sort of the boring part, but it is important to have a sense of how long your print is going to take, because the Glowforge is going to be available for reservations, and they're probably going to be in 2-hour blocks, so you're not going to have all day to get your items printed. In fact, I would recommend getting your file pretty well figured out before your reservation time even starts, and then that way you're able to just come in, load up your app, get your file ready to print, and then just print. So this is going to take me 2 hours and 15 minutes. And it's magic time. I get to push the button on my Glowforge to begin, and I'll show you what that looks like. That moment when you send your file to the Glowforge and the magic button appears. Okay, so we've already run our Glowforge print, and all of the pieces have been cut and etched, and this is a pretty fun reveal. So I'm going to just lift the material out, and you'll see that all the parts that were cut aren't there anymore. Well, they exist, but they exist here on this plane. And let me see if I can get you in a little bit more. Yeah. So each of these has been cut and etched. We have some little ones too. And see if I go to lift one, the little hole fell out and it went into the tray here. So that's totally fine because we can empty out that tray. Oh, you can kind of see the dust where all the other ones were. So our next step is going to be to peel off this layer, the sticker layer that's on top. So we'll peel off the sticker layer, and then we're going to add our metal pieces so that this will turn into a keychain. Forgive the noise, the Glowforge is still working, but I wanted to show you what happens once our pieces are cut. I have a collection here, and you might notice it looks a little burnished or burnt, and what it is that there's this sticker paper that's on the pieces already. So you can peel it off. I like to use the scraper tool from the Cricut. You can use any sharp tool, even a fingernail, and when you peel it off, you can see it's like a nice, just to compare. They're all stuck together. So this is what it looks like before you peel off the tape, and then there's like a nice cleaner version. And so I'm actually going to work on removing the tape off of this. It's a little tricky because there's tiny little letters, but this tool I find is really helpful, and we'll go through that.